Hello, crypto boys and ghouls, and welcome back to the channel, Tales from the Cryptmancer, where we feature content on play and earn games on the blockchain, such as Splinterlands. And in today's video, I wanted to talk a little bit about some market trends that I'm seeing that might be a little concerning. And it's really talking about whale games and on the topic of if the Chaos Legion card market might be being manipulated by whales as we speak. So I'm going to show you some sets of data here in the card market, as well as some transactions on the blockchain, let you make your own decision. Again, some of this is just straight data, some of it is conjecture. I don't have all of the information at this point in time. Perhaps as a community, we can come up with more data sets and more information to gather a more definitive analysis, but I wanted to share at least my initial findings with you because I find it to be quite interesting. So where should we start? Well, let's start by looking at some of the Chaos Legion market history that is interesting. Right now, if we go into Peak Monsters and we look at specific cards, we're seeing interesting behavior in the market. Let's take a look at Narissa Tridon. Narissa Tridon, you can see here, a single BCX is selling on the market at the lowest price of 2.029. Nothing too crazy about that necessarily, but if we go into the bids, what do we see here? We see a huge bid wall here at 457 BCX, here at 1.74. And we're seeing people come above that 1.74 because, well, if you want to bid on a card in Peak Monsters above this bid paywall, you're going to have to go above it. You can see the difference below the bid paywall is almost a penny here, which is actually quite substantial. Now let's look at another card here, Igor Darkspear. Again, we're just looking at water to start with. We can look at many other splinters. You can see here the lowest BCX sale price in the market is 2.266. Go to the bids here. You can see another huge paywall here. 450 BCX being bid on at a 2.25 BCX amount. Now, 450 BCX for Igor Darkspear, just to put that into context, is almost 10 max level copies of this card at 46 BCX. It doesn't make a lot of sense for an average player to put 10 max copies of a bid in here, especially at 1 BCX. If you're a player of the game, and even if you're an investor in the game, it's a little sus right now because of rental prices around 1 BCX cards. That being said, let's look at one more card here and water. That's Kellia Frendel, the Summoner. You can see here, you've got a 4.25 BCX sale price for Kellia as the lowest price. If you go to the bids here, wow, 590 BCX paywall here as a bid at 3.9. So basically, if you want to buy a Kellia Frendel, you're going to have to pay at least 3.901 right now with a bid. And in the market, you're going to be paying 4.25. So that's pretty big. You can see here the difference. There's some pretty big differences and drops here down to 3.556 here for bids. It's a pretty high bid price for that card and a huge paywall again. 590 B6 of Kellia is, well, it's more than 5 max level copies of that card as set to the bid there. So what is this doing, right? When you put a bid here of 590 BCX, which is a very strong move, it's a whale move, it's basically setting the minimum price in the market for this card at $3.90. So why is that a big deal? Well, if we go into, let's go into Hive Market here, Hive Engine, we can see here the Chaos Legion pack price, if we get a refresh here, is actually at $2.63, almost $2.64, which is up quite a bit substantially from where it was selling at around $1.80 to $1.90 just maybe 2 weeks ago. And that's a huge increase in price, probably close to 100% increase in Chaos Legion secondary market prices just in 2 weeks. And why is that price increasing? Well, it's because the perceived value of the cards in Chaos Legion have gone up substantially. Let's take a look at that for a moment. So if we go to Splinter cards here, we look at their pack value calculator. You can see here that the Chaos Legion estimated pack value is $2.72, and that's much higher than it was previously. And what's interesting to note is you look at the Epic regular cards here, 17 in the set, the average value is 1.54. And that's pretty significant because, again, if we go into Peak Monsters and you look at all of these epic cards, for example, let's take a look at the Wave Brood here. Again, the Wave Brood has a huge minimum bid here, 453 BCX at $2.16. That's increasing the perceived Chaos Legion pack value. You can switch to any other Splinter as an example here. I mean, we can go to Earth, do the same thing, look at epics, Grund here, 489 BCX as the minimum bid paywall at $2.21. Again, setting the market. So if you want to bid on a Grund, you have to bid over that to have any chance of getting a Grund in the market right now. So you're seeing where we're going with this, right? Let's take another look at an epic. Let's take a look at Acid Shooter. Again, 332 minimum bid paywall here at $1.17. So what's happening in my mind? What's happening is the market's being manipulated by a whale, specifically one whale, that is artificially inflating card prices for Chaos Legion and holding a market value for whatever purpose that they want. My guess is they bought a ton of Chaos Legion packs on the market for, let's say, $1.80 and are now reselling them at the basically 100% profit by inflating the market just by keeping these bids out here and may not even be spending money buying these cards at bid. So this is interesting, and you might be asking yourself, well, what bot or whale would be manipulating the market? But on stream on Splinterlands TV last night, I had one of the audience actually was curious about this as well. I believe they went in here and sold a card, Chaos Legion card, at this paywall to see who was the buyer at this price. And lo and behold, the purchaser of that bid pricing with the 400 or 500 BCX happened to be none other than this user right here, Wukita. So Wukita is an interesting name because if you're familiar with this name when we talked about bots in the past, this is a market bot. Wukita is one of the buying bots for A04, the market bot. So what do we mean by A04 as a market bot? Well, I'm on A04's Explorer here in Peak Monsters and looking at transfer cards as a blockchain tracking here. And we can see here that A04 is getting transferred in cards from buying accounts. In this case, Boss U, some Peak Monsters accounts, Wukita, Wukita 1, etc. And what are the cards that Wukita is buying at these bid prices? Well, it's Epic Igor Darkspears, it's Summoners here, Thaddeus, Obsidian, Kelya, it's some key common cards, Goblin Psychic, Curse Windiku, Life Sapper, and epics like the, or rares like the Danfer Infiltrator, Celestial Harpy, Legion of Alvar legendaries. You can basically see by going through the history on what cards A04 is buying with his buying accounts and subsequently selling with his sale account, which is A04. You can see here again, he bought Igor Darkspear, he sold Igor Darkspear. He bought Life Sapper, he sold Life Sapper. He bought the Jin Apprentice, he sold it. He bought a Windiku, sold it. Bought a Goblin Psychic, sold it. So basically what's happening is he's arbitraging these purchases on the market, buying for less, selling for more, and that's fine. That's what market bots do. But the new behavior that we're seeing, which is net new, and it's happened since the Chaos Legion pack burn has been announced as a proposal, is the buying accounts for A04 aren't just sniping good deals off the market here as for card listings, they're actually being proactive and putting bid paywalls up here and manipulating the market floor for Chaos Legion prices. So I want to be clear in that I don't want to necessarily call out one specific market bot or one specific bot account or group that is participating in these bid walls with these high BCXs. The indication based on the inputs that I received from the Splinterlands TV Twitch stream last night was it was Wikita and A04 from a bot farm perspective. The community could certainly validate this by going in and looking at all of the bid walls that exist in Chaos Legion and selling a card to that account and then tracking it back. I don't have the resources or the time necessarily to do that for each one of these. So I'll just put the caveat out there that we can't definitively say A04 and that bot farm is behind necessarily 100% of these bid walls. If, for example, the account owner of A04 did want to come on stream and talk about their bot and what they're doing in the market and the reasons why, I'd happily have them on the stream. And that's obviously an open invite. So feel free, A04, the owner or owners, if you want to talk about it, feel free to message me in Discord or on YouTube, and we can definitely set that up. But again, we have to go with the data that we're seeing, and this is what we've uncovered thus far. So again, it could be speculated on the reasons why a whale might be looking to manipulate the pricing of Chaos Legion cards and packs to inflate those specifically. They could have a large holding of Chaos Legion packs that they bought at a discount and are now liquidating for profit and repeating this arbitrage perspective. It's an interesting thing. And the reason why I want to call it out and let the community know about this is just as easy as a whale like A04 can put these bids out here and make you bid higher and drive the market prices higher, he or she could easily remove these bid paywalls in an instant. So while you might today be getting the value of a Chaos Legion pack for $2.72, as soon as the whale says, hey, enough of these whale games, I've made my money, I'm out, they remove all their bids, and now all these bids, the market prices start falling, because look at the bid paywalls now, 1, 4, 6, 3. Basically, you sell at those numbers, and instead of basically the market being set at above 221, the market for Grund is 188. And you're like, well, that's not a big deal. So let's say 11 Grunds sell, and now the market is, well, I guess technically it's 144. But let's just say it would be 188. Well, that's a significant difference. That's a 40% roughly difference in card price just by A04 taking away his minimum bid paywall here and basically removing it and then selling literally 10 copies of the card. And now you're down 40% market value. So what is the message or the takeaway here? Be very careful in the market right now. You're probably having a little bit of FOMO with Chaos Legion, going out of print. And the whale here, A04, is basically taking advantage of your FOMO. And he's basically artificially inflating the prices of Chaos Legion cards and packs, and you're paying it and you're giving him profit. The challenge here is, what do we as a community do about this? So unlike what happened last year in the stock market with stocks such as AMC or GameStop, community came together and put a short squeeze on those that were selling into the market. And what they did is they bought up the cards or the assets or the stocks. In this case, if we were to come in here and try and do that by buying up the cards, well, all we're doing is paying market prices and driving up the card prices higher and giving more potential profit to A04 or the bots here. So really what, the best way to potentially combat this market manipulation would be for the community to basically put short the market here and basically sell into the bid wall here and sell roughly 488 copies of Grund here and make A04 buy all of those copies up, and then don't buy any in the market and wait for A04 have to liquidate those cards at a price lower than $2.21. Well, A04 is counting on you as a Splinterlands player and investor not to do that. It's basically counting on you not having 489 Grunts or Narissa Tridons or Kelias or whatever the case may be to sell to them, and also counting on you not wanting to sell your cards at this price and take the chance of buying in at a lower value. A04 is basically counting on the community saying, hey, it's looking bullish for Chaos Legion, and I don't want to sell my Chaos Legion cards right now. I want to buy Chaos Legion cards. So it's counting on the community and the player base to not jeopardize, them, and he's not going to have to buy a lot of Grunts at 489 copies of Grunts at this price. He'll just keep moving the price up, and people will not sell into it, and then he'll continue to artificially inflate the market price. So it's a little bit of a dilemma. As a community, I don't know really how we can combat this right now. Chaos Legion possibly going out of print by March 31st. It's playing right into the hands of this market-making bot. Again, my takeaway is be cautious out there because it's just one bot, one market maker that's setting the price. And, it could easily reverse very quickly. And, if you're playing the long-term game, buying at this price, you may not care because you figure over time it'll go up anyways. You just pay the price and give A04 their profits and move on about your day. So it's kind of an interesting situation. And if you're curious about how much A04 might be making on a daily or yearly basis just by arbitraging the card market, not even necessarily some of the manipulation that's going on here specifically, well, we can look at their cards that are for sale in the market right now. They have roughly $7,900 worth of cards listed on the market right now. They're churning through that pretty rapidly on an hourly and daily basis. If you do the math, and let's say they're getting a 20% profit on those sales on a recycling basis as they're continuously buying and selling cards, well, that basically means they're making $1,580 a day roughly if they can cycle their inventory every 24 hours. It's unknown how fast they cycle their sales, but if they did that every 24 hours, for example, what is the market making bot, the mysterious shadow owner of A04, making on a yearly basis? Well, just from the bot running, he or she is roughly making $576,000 a year, or over $500,000 a year by running a bot in Splinterlands. So there's some data for you. There's some information that you might find interesting. I'd be curious to get the community's thoughts around this, and also if the community, like Commander Chaos or others, has ways of tracking down some of this data better than I do. I'd definitely be interested to see that data. Again, just be cautious out there, be careful, and until next time, keep stacking those stats.